What's up, guys, and welcome back to Streetball AllStars. Now, today we are going to be making a breakdown of one of the most underused bigs in the entire game, yet somehow still pretty used, Big Joan. Let's get into it. Alright, now let's talk about why I think Big Joan is both underused but still used. And simply put, she just isn't really used exclusively on high tier, nor is she really seen in low tier that much. And on mid tier, she's only really seen decent amount, but in all reality, she is still seen as being used, So what I'm trying to say is Big Joan isn't exactly popular, but she's used enough that I'd say she isn't really a dead character, so to speak. So anyway, that's not really important. That's just a little observation that I've done. So let's go ahead and talk about Big Joan. Alright, so firstly, what exactly is Big Joan's job? And the best way to put it is she acts as a lower tier Vanessa. She does almost the same as Vanessa does, just a little bit weaker, and Vanessa is still 10 times better than her. But yeah, Big Joan specializes in rebounding and blocking shots just like Vanessa, and you can use her as a substitute to Vanessa if you're looking for almost an exact replica of the playstyle that you need to do when using Vanessa. So yeah, Big Joan acts as a weaker Vanessa. So now let's go ahead and look into Big Joan's skills or abilities. So firstly, her 3-point, not really good. Her mid-range, typical for a center. Close shot, that's actually normal for a center as well. Dunk stat, 65. That's pretty much what you'd expect from a center as well. 20 steal, 25 dribble, 35 pass. Pretty much all what you'd expect, again, for a typical center. But 37 speed, that's actually really good for a center. Big Joan is actually surprisingly fast. That's one thing that she has against other centers, just like Vanessa. She is actually pretty fast. So she's got that going for her, and it is very useful, especially since she does actually excel in blocking shots. So 35 jump, that's actually pretty low for a center, but scoring isn't exactly what Big Joan is supposed to do anyway, so it doesn't really affect her too much. Now we have rebound, 7-2 rebound. That's actually really good. But yeah, that is what she is supposed to do. So 7-2 rebound, that's really good. That's a really good rebound stat. 69 block, that's actually pretty high as well. Again, she excels at blocking shots, so 69 block is really, really useful. And 65 power, again, that's actually pretty good. Pretty good power for a center, especially for a rebounding center. And it is going to come in useful, especially with the meta nowadays. So with these abilities given, I'd say it's best to, again, as usual, focus on giving her as much power as possible, and then maybe add in some rebound, a good amount of rebound there, and just a little bit of speed to help her out with defense. You can leave this speed and just focus on much power and just a little bit of block if you really want to. Either way, what really matters is that you give her enough power to block dunks consistently, and that's pretty much really all you need to do. Rebounding, just for you to have an easier time getting the ball, and speed, just for better defense against those shots. But yeah, that's what I recommend you give Big Joan. Now, let's go ahead and look into her different skills. Alright guys, so here is Big Joan's skill set. So let's go ahead and talk about her different skills. So firstly, we have box out. This is pretty much this is available to all bigs, and it's pretty much mandatory. It isn't as useful as it used to be after the rebound update, but still very much needed when it comes to rebounding and helping your teammates get those FLRs. Make sure to get this, make sure to max it out as soon as possible. Next up, we have Flick. Not much to say about here as well. Pretty much mandatory after the rebound update. Make sure to max this out and make sure to equip this skill as soon as possible. Now, we have Follow-Up Shot. Not a mandatory skill to have, but it does come in useful, especially when you are on those tiebreaker situations, or if you're down by 1 and you get the rebound. Follow-up shot becomes very useful, so not a mandatory skill to have, but you know, it is a very nice skill to have in your skill set as well. Now, we move on to Quick Rebound. As I've said before, Big Joan is very similar to Vanessa. Vanessa also has Quick Rebound, except hers is level 4 and Big Joan's is level 3. For now at least, we'll see in the future, but yeah. Quick Rebound, very important skill. Even if only level 3, this might be Big Joan's most important skill, so make sure to get this. Basically allows you to land fast with or without the ball when you jump for it, when you try to rebound it. Even if you don't get it, if you do get it, you will land quicker. This is a very important skill to have. Now, we have Resisting the Rebound, and the sad thing about this skill is it isn't really that useful because most bigs can already jump even when they are getting boxed out. That's where rebounding is right now. It's not really that fun. All you really have to do is flick fast, because you can flick through being screened. And if you are screened, you know, this ability, or let's say Rocket or Amy's anti-box out ability, they don't really become useful. They are not that useful because you barely see any of the effect, since everybody else can basically do it, you know? And even if you do jump first with this ability, Big Joan doesn't exactly have the highest rebound priority, so you're most of the time not even really gonna get that. If Vanessa, or let's say Rocket or Robbie, does jump at the same time as you, you're pretty much not gonna get the ball 9 times out of 10. So resisting the rebound, not really the most useful skill. It does come in handy here and there. If you jump, let's say, 1 frame literally after being boxed out, it might come in handy. So it's nice. It's a nice skill to have on your skill set, but not really mandatory. So next up, we have Resisting the Block. Now this one is actually very useful. This makes it so that even if you are being screened, you can still block the ball. You can still go and attempt a block. Let's say Emma is screening you and Fire King is about to shoot a shot. If you're close enough, you can still block that ball as long as you are close enough. And this actually does come in useful. Not a lot of characters have abilities that are similar to this one, or is this one. This is very much exclusive to just Big Joan, so this one actually way more useful than Resisting the Rebound. So make sure to get this one, make sure to max it out, and get it as soon as you can. Lastly, we have Grabbing Block. Level 4 Grabbing Block. A lot of characters already have this. Nikolai, Victor, they both have this. Very useful skill to have. Basically gives you a chance of just immediately grabbing the ball after a block, so you don't have to go for that FLR. It comes in very useful. Make sure to max this out as well. This is Joanne's level 4 as well, so yeah. Make sure to max out this skill. It is very much useful. So as you saw, she pretty much focuses on defense and rebounding. Again, she's like a diet Vanessa. That is the best way to describe her. But yeah, let's go ahead and watch a match where I use some of these skills, and let's go ahead and talk about Big Joan some more. Alright, so firstly, let's talk about the teammates that you're going to want to get with Big Joan when you do use her. And the answer to that is pretty much just a point guard and a scorer. Big Joan doesn't really have a specific strategy that she needs to be effective. Like I said, she's pretty similar to Vanessa, so she is versatile as well. Again, she's a great rebounder and a great defender. So specific wise, you don't really have a teammate that you want to get specifically. It just needs to be a point guard and a scorer. Again, no specific strategies needed, and Big Joan would still be pretty good. Now, let's talk about the matchups that you're going to want to get or avoid with Big Joan. And in all honesty, she's actually pretty good here as well. So the matchups that you're going to want to actually get, I'd say would be specifically those shooters who have a hard time faking. So players like David and some players like Sher, you might have an easier time with defending them thanks to Big Joanne's great defense. Again, she excels at blocking those shots, so she's pretty good at those. And the matchups that you're going to want to actually avoid, I'd say most likely are just pure dunkers. Those who like close dunks specifically. So these include players like Lightning, players like Alto. You're gonna want to avoid those matchups because her block animation is a little weird. It can be useful at times. It's pretty similar to Amy, but overall it is actually pretty detrimental compared to other block animations. So yeah, the matchup that you might want to avoid are those that are pure dunkers such as Alto and Lightning. Lastly, let's talk about Big Joanne's placement in meta, and in all honesty, I think Big Joanne can actually do pretty well against those guys on meta, players like Vanessa, Robbie. She can do a good enough job, though she doesn't really top them or anything, She can do just fine, but she's not going to dominate them or have an easy time against them. She might struggle as well, but she should be able to keep up on her own against these meta characters as well. It's just not as well as if you were to use meta, So I'd say Big Joanne, her placement in meta is pretty fine. It's pretty alright. She will do just fine as long as she knows what she's doing, but she might have a harder time against those experienced meta players, those cheese guys, So yeah, overall I think Big Joanne is a pretty good center. In all honesty, I think she's still not used enough, even though again, she's not exactly a dead character. I still do see some players use him. I see her sometimes on high tier, on low tier, and on mid tier. In all honesty, I think she is actually sort of underrated. She does well enough that she can hold her own against, characters like Vanessa, Robbie. She can be like a mini Elise as well. Again, she's pretty fast for a center and her blocking range is actually really good. So she's pretty versatile. I do hope to see more players use her, but I don't really blame them. I really do hope that the developers buff her as well a little bit. Again, just make Flick not bypass box outs, and so many bigs are going to be more viable, It's gonna make so many other bigs more viable. It will make so many skills more viable, just like Big Joanne's ignore rebound. Imagine, she can actually rebound while being screened while others cannot. It'll be really cool, man. But yeah. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. I hope that it's been entertaining somehow, but more importantly, I hope it's been helpful. So yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.